Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called How Sweden is Becoming Insanely Rich. And obviously, being from the UK, one thing I know is that Northern Europe, Scandinavian, Nordic countries are a lot more wealthier than the UK. Of course, the UK has a huge GDP and stuff, but for general quality of life, for the wealth of the people who live there, countries like Sweden are just so far ahead. And yeah, I can't wait to learn more about this. Tell me what you think about this video and what you think about Sweden becoming insanely rich.
On the 12th of January 2023, the Deputy Prime Minister of Sweden made an announcement about very exciting, enormously significant rocks.
This is really an important day for Sweden and for the whole of the European Union.
Sweden's public mining company, LKAB, revealed that one of their mines in the north had found something huge. Kiruna is the largest, most modern iron ore mine on the planet. It produces around 80% of all the iron ore mined in the EU.
The ore here in Kiruna contains more than just iron.
Rare earth metals have been called the quintessential symbol for the emerging, shifting global order. They power our technology, our militaries, and they are key in the transition to clean energy.
Today, the EU is way too dependent on other countries for these materials.
Until that day, Europe barely mined any rare earth metals. Sweden now found 1 million tons of them in the Peergeja deposit.
Wow. Tell me about this, like when this was actually found, was this huge news in Sweden? What did people think about it when this was found? I never knew that Sweden even produced so much iron ore, 80% of the EU's iron ore. Fantastic to know, really good to know, like one of Sweden's big industries. I hope something like this isn't a call for the US to invade Sweden, man. You know what they're like when they see natural resources being found that's plentiful in other countries. That's a joke, I hope, of course.
This discovery stands to change Sweden and also the relationship between Europe and other world powers forever.
China supplies actually 98% of rare earths.
Another big jackpot for India.
Southern Africa's rare earth minerals.
Australia is the world's third largest producer of rare earths.
The United States has fallen behind in the production of critical rare earth minerals.
Rare earth metals are a group of 17 elements: scandium, yttrium, and 15 lanthanides. You don't need to remember any of that though. To understand their importance, let's just look at a few examples. This is you. As you're enjoying the comfort of your home, you're interrupted by a notification. A set of miniature coils makes a paper-thin magnet vibrate, while another set of magnetic coils animate the diaphragm of your phone speaker to produce a sound that's loud and clear. To create such a small action, we need magnets created with the rare earth metal neodymium. Your favorite mukbang ASMR channel just released a new video, so you put on your headphones for maximum enjoyment. We don't judge. Your headphones too require neodymium. The video that you're watching comes to life on a screen that requires gadolinium, lithanium, and yttrium. What sounds like me and my imaginary friends playing D&D in my mom's basement every weekend actually allows you to see juicy, vivid colors without excessively draining the battery. The video is transmitted to you via a fiber optic cable, bringing ones and zeros over hundreds, maybe thousands of kilometers. To make sure the signal isn't lost over long distances, we require erbium-doped fiber amplifiers to boost the signal. Okay, you're done with your video, head outside and hail a cab. You're no peasant and go for the Uber Black. Its engine requires neodymium magnets to convert electricity into motion. The battery of the taxi has partially been charged by wind turbines or maybe even nuclear energy. The wind turbines require powerful magnets to convert motion into electricity using almost a full metric ton of, you guessed it, good old neodymium. Also around 180 kilograms of dysprosium. The reactor's control rods are laced with europium. The taxi goes to the airport where you board an aircraft that will take you straight to Ibiza. Super Snake made you go. Parts of the aircraft's body are made from aluminium scandium alloy. Light, durable, and resistant to high temperatures. We could go on forever, but we won't for watch time. These examples barely scratch the surface of what rare earth metals are used for.
I mean, that's already like such a perfect example of the importance of these rare earth minerals. And not only are they important at the moment, these are all things that are going to be important for not just the short term, but the long term as well, you would imagine. So yeah, can't wait to find out more about what was actually found. But it really shows you if Sweden has access to this in its own country, this could be a fantastic thing for the country.
But it should be clear, they are indispensable for our modern applications, our modern lives. However, for all the benefits they provide, rare earths are sneaky and they hide well. Mining them commercially is difficult. You have to sieve through a lot of ore just to extract a little. What makes it even more complicated is that some countries have a lot of them and some a lot less. Europe imports around 98% of all of its rare earth metals from China. Even europium, which is used for anti-counterfeit watermarks on euro bills, comes entirely from China. All that is an enormous problem, and the main reason Per Jäger is such a big deal. In the 1980s, the then Supreme Leader of China, Deng Xiaoping, said, "The Middle East has oil, China has rare earth metals." By 2010, China had suffocated the competition and acquired an effective monopoly on rare earth elements, providing over 90% of the global supply. The country even bargained for exclusive mining rights in several African countries to further tighten its grip on the market. This is severely oversimplified, but often it kinda maybe went like this. "Ah, that's a sweet little mine you got there. I see your city lacks a train station. Also that harbor looks kinda rusty. How about we help you out there free of charge and you just give us those weird rocks?" This way, China got to control even more of the world's rare earth stock.
Yeah, it's like pretty much neo-colonialism, man. So when you see those numbers about how much China provides to the world, and it's not just from China now, it is from all these African countries that has soft power within. It's quite, I mean, we already, before COVID, relied on China for so much manufacturing and so on. We're so exposed to them. After COVID, it's like, I like to see countries are trying to diversify, move away from their reliance on China. If we can move away from China for these as well, it would be great.
Extracting rare earth metals can be difficult. It requires a lot of resources and is often very polluting. They can come with trace amounts of radioactive thorium and radium. You need these open air pools to separate the elements when you take them out of the earth. But that process can produce mountains of mildly radioactive waste. For example, here you have the Baogang steel and rare earth complex in Baotou, Inner Mongolia. Next to it, you can find a spectacular man-made lake. For decades, it has been used for rare earth tailings. Since then, it continuously contaminated the groundwater, with brutal consequences.
Well, man, when you see like so much talk about what the EU, European countries, the UK have to do to help the environment go green, and you see something like this, man, this is just quite disgusting. I guess it's needed to treat these minerals or these metals, but it just looks terrible for the environment.
There are numerous so-called cancer villages in the area. Today, most of the homes are abandoned.
Jeez.
By practicing lenient, non-existent environmental policies, China was able to keep prices low enough to annihilate most of their competition. For decades, the country provided the world with a cheap and plentiful supply. In 2021, it controlled 2/3 of all mining, 85% of all refining, 90% of all extracted metal, and 93% of all magnets.
Those numbers are crazy.
But that monopoly also gave the country great political power. Since the late 2000s, China's export policies caused several massive price swings on the rare earth market. Some countries accused China of using rare earth exports as a political weapon.
The EU, US and Japan have asked the World Trade Organization to rule on a dispute with China over Beijing's restrictions on exports of raw materials.
A dispute over rare metals, which has been building for years, has come to a head.
In 2012, the US, EU and Japan even sued China over supposedly abusing its monopoly.
Now, if China would simply let the market work on its own, we'd have no objections. But their policies currently are preventing that from happening.
Especially the US was getting increasingly worried. You see, next to iPhones and wind turbines, rare earths are needed for something else: advanced weaponry. To produce a F-35 fighter jet, you need around 420 kilograms of rare earth elements. A Virginia-class nuclear submarine requires almost 10 times that amount. Many modern missile guidance systems need rare earth metals. So do night vision devices, communications equipment, navigation systems, stealth technology, drones, satellites, the list goes on. Basically, a modern army cannot function without them. Over several decades, China quietly built up the ability to choke the military capabilities of the countries it doesn't like. This is such a huge problem that in 2019, the US Department of Defense started investing tens of millions in commercial rare earth production for the first time since the Manhattan Project. And today, US allies are equally concerned. First and foremost, many EU countries. The West had a collective, stark realization. These are not merely minerals. They present a serious geopolitical risk.
Yeah, a lot of power.
And this is where Sweden steps in to save the day. Per Year is the European Union's major breakthrough in reducing its dependency on China.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know it was that important. Like, pretty much every aspect of military weaponry and equipment relying on these. In China having so much power, I wonder how many people actually know that. Is quite insane. Yeah, can't wait to see if Sweden can save the day.
Per Year finally makes mining rare earth metals commercially viable on the European continent. The deposit knocks out multiple minerals with one bird. It is close to an existing mine, reducing the need to build entirely different infrastructure. Plus, it is filled with both iron and apatite. As opposed to having to seep through lots of useless rock, the deposit also gives you both of those in the process. Iron is nice, but apatite is even nicer. The mineral is a great source for phosphorus, another critical raw material that the EU currently has to import. According to the mining company, Per Year has at least 1 million tons of rare earth elements.
Wow.
To put that number in perspective, EU demand totaled just 1,400 tons in 2020. It is projected to reach 6,500 tons by the next decade and as much as 10,000 tons by 2050. These rather low numbers, however, do not account for the demand for already finished goods. For example, the EU currently imports 16,000 tons of magnets per year, which are made up of roughly 1/3 rare earth metals. It is not known which rare earth metals are in the mine exactly or how much it will ultimately cost to mine them, but it is certain that the deposit will be valuable. It will change things, both for the public Swedish mining company and also for the entire European continent. Let's dare to look a decade or so into the future for a minute. Some of LKAB's biggest clients are European car manufacturers. Close to Kiruna, you can find new factories belonging to Volkswagen, Peugeot and others. Magnets made from Per Year rare earth metals fuel the transition from combustion to electric. Wind turbines lined up in the North Sea spin with Swedish neodymium-fueled magnets. China's political power over Europe in the arena of special rocks diminishes. Sweden is richer than ever.
That's fantastic.
As you can tell, rare earth elements are incredibly valuable. But what's even more useful is capitalizing on them by understanding how they work. There's a quick and easy way to deepen your understanding of such physical and mathematical concepts. Brilliant gives you skills that can be applied to everything.
Okay, so yeah, interesting how Sweden is becoming insanely rich. So tell me more about that, what you think about that when you see the potential amount of rare earth metals or minerals that are in Sweden that could power the EU for decades and decades. It's magnificent. I guess it's not just good for Sweden to like monetize that and become rich, but it's also good to take away the power, take away the reliance on China. So yeah, if you're from Sweden, tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you know about it. How big a story was this when it was found? What do you know what the minerals and metals are that are under there? Give me more information about what is actually going on there, and tell me what you think about Sweden having this potential wealth. How can that benefit Sweden as a country as well? And yeah, tell me more about it. Thanks.